Solid Foundation, Israelite Academy, 2019. Brothers and sisters, I'm your host, Shabar Israel, that will be carrying forth the lesson on tonight. And the topic of discussion will be the matrix machine. I'm going to be talking about the matrix machine, guys. All right. So we'll wait for brothers and sisters to enter the room, and we will commence with this wonderful lesson on tonight. Be sure to support me on YouTube as well. Simply log in YouTube, go to the search icon, and key in Shabar Israel, and that's SHABARISRAEL, Shabar Israel. And you should see this logo comes up. Okay, here's a t-shirt, Solid Foundation Israelite Academy t-shirt. You guys should see this logo pop up on YouTube, and that is my channel. So you can go ahead and subscribe and be a part of the movement if you would like. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, and that is Shabar Israel. So guys, and you know that you can find me on Facebook. So yeah, it's going down tonight, man, because I'm going to be talking about the matrix machine, guys. Yes, the matrix machine. What the hell is the matrix machine? It will be explained tonight. So I'm going to wait until at least somebody come into the room, and then I'm going to kick the lesson off. Hope all is well. Peace and much love and respect to you all on both ends. And remember, elevation is the key. Evolving is the key. All right, let's see who we got that's spawning in. All right. I'm not going to wait around too long. I'm about to start up with the lesson, so I'll see whoever come into the room, man, okay? So for this lesson, you're going to need the King James Bible, like I use in all of my lessons. You're going to need the King James Bible. You're going to need a King James Bible. You're going to also need composition book to take notes, and a pen or pencil of your choice. All right, guys. So without further ado, I'm going into the lesson now. So let's talk about the matrix machine. You guys should know already, I mentioned this several times in multiple videos that I have made, that I am in the process of writing a book. This book is called The Spiritual Wisdom of Nobility, the Godhood Within. This is the manuscript. This is the rough draft of the book. Hope you guys can see that. It says The Spiritual Wisdom of Nobility, the Godhood Within. Awesome book, guys. Awesome book. This book is in the process, and it will soon be completed. So I'm going to be coming from this book that I am writing to explain the matrix machine. I also have a series that's coming out called S.F.I.A, an animated picture series that I use, a compilation of pictures to put together, and it's called S.F.I.A. It kind of explains the life that we exist in, what happens before and after. So this is going to all tie into the matrix machine. All right, so yeah, let's talk about matrix machine. All right, as soon as I can find the page, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, guys, I want to flip the camera around and show you what I'm talking about concerning the matrix machine. The realm of Etheria. Okay, or you may say the kingdom of Etheria. Now I'm going to explain all of this, what you see, because this actually is how the series plays out, the animated series that I'm also working on. And this just is a comic script to explain Etheria, or what, or some may call it the kingdom of Etheria. So I'm going to explain this, guys. So lock and load. Let me grab a pencil or pen. This is very important, so listen up. It's very important, guys. Listen up. You will not be disappointed. I'm going to help you try to evolve and get the hell out of this matrix. By the end of this video, hopefully you will know thyself. Okay, so you know this is our solid foundation. Do it. You know we be in the esoteric knowledge, as well as metaphysics, as well as quantum physics, and as well as many other templates we be in. All right, that's what separates solid foundation from all the other Israelite camps. So here we go, guys. So I'm gonna write this. Okay, let's say this is the Earth. E-A-R-T-H. This is Earth right here. All right, so and let's draw another arch, and then let's draw another arch, and then let's draw another arch. Let's draw another arch. Let's draw another arch. So, all right now, and this is Earth. So this Earth, all right. So Earth is the lowest dimension you can be placed upon. So we're gonna put a 1 right here, and then let's put a 50 right here, and then on the top we will put 99 right here. So I'm trying to explain something to the best of my ability, guys, because this is going to teach you how to evolve in this existence in order to get out this matrix. Because Earth that we live in, which is here, you know, you got the bodies of lands and the bodies of waters. Earth that we live in right here, we all should know that this is called the matrix. So Earth, this is the matrix that we live in, all right? Man, woman, boys, you know what I'm saying? Let me put a dress on her. Man, woman, boys, and little girls, as well as the animals. As well as the animals. You know, this is the matrix, which is Earth. This is the matrix. This is the lowest dimension to be placed upon. So it's not a good thing to be in this dimension because it's the lowest. So what we have to do while we exist here on the earth, we have to evolve. We have to elevate. We have to progress so that when we are judged, we will not come back into this lowest dimension. We can go and progress to other dimensions, because your life is being recorded, and it's going to be thrown up into your face on the very day you die. And when you return back to the realm of Etheria, because this is Etheria, this is what you call the ether or Etheria. So, okay, we see Josh Bussy, glad to have you, my brother. Peace and much love. Peace and much love and wisdom to you. I'm glad to have you, my brother, Josh Bussy, man. You always come through for me. You always support me in my videos. I'm glad that you can spawn in and be a part of this wonderful lesson. Please share the video with family and friends. You will not be disappointed. I'm glad to have you once again, my brother, Josh Bussy, man. Hope all is well with the family. So what I'm talking about on tonight is I'm talking about the Matrix machine. The Matrix machine. And I will be explaining the Matrix machine. So that's what you are in the midst of now. I am explaining the Matrix machine. So let's go back to the canvas. Glad to have you, Josh Bussy. Now, you must realize, guys, that we are etheric beings. So we come from the ether, or what you call Etheria. So we are not, this is not our home. Earth, which is this matrix, Earth is not our home. Earth is what you call, Earth is a school for souls to grow. So souls are sent from Etheria to the earth in order to grow. So this is the place of soul growth. The earth is the place of soul growth. It's for you to evolve. It's for you to come out of the lower self and elevate to the higher self. This is what this life is all about. Because, let me put at the bottom, what is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of life? Okay. Listen to me good, guys. The meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to prepare for your death. The meaning of life is actually to prepare for your death. So while you're living, just know that you are on the path to dying one day. And so while you're living, the meaning of your life is to actually prepare for your death, because death is coming to us all. And once death hits home, you will be judged according to what you did in this matrix. Now, this matrix is also called the a virtual simulator. All right, so let's put that. This is a virtual simulator, which is nothing but a game. So this earth that we are living in is nothing but, also known as the matrix. This is nothing but a virtual simulator, which is a game, because everything that's on the outside of you is just a figment of your imagination, and it's not real. What do I mean by that? Because I told you I was going to explain the matrix machine, and then I will come back to the canvas here. So, guys, now Joshua Bussy, I'm going to explain the matrix machine, and hopefully everyone will see exactly what life is all about, because a lot of us don't know what life is all about. And I'm going to explain the reason why you're back in the matrix. I'm going to explain why you're back in what you call this simulated environment. So let's go to the comic script, because I told you I'm writing a book, and in my book I have a comic script called the Etheria script. So I'm going in my book, and I'm going to show you on a particular page and explain the matrix machine. Okay, Joshua Bussy. So as you can see right here, this is in the book that I'm writing, and it's called Etheria. So You see where it says etheric gods. The etheric gods are you see the blue entities? Those look like those monsters, or what you would call, they kind of put you in the mind of aliens, all right? These are etheric gods, all right? These are gods from Etheria. These are etheric gods. If you want to call these angels, divine beings, divine judges, celestial powers, star bodies, whatever you want to call them, I call them etheric gods. Some may call them angelic beings, however you want to do it. But these are supernatural gods, etheric gods, the blue ones, the ones you see in the blue. These are known as etheric gods. Now, what these etheric gods put us through, they put us through what you call a test. So as you see this guy is sitting down in this matrix chair. You see this guy? He's sitting down in this matrix chair because he has to be put through this simulated environment, which is a test. So they will put the virtual goggles on, as you can see. The etheric gods sits him down in the matrix chair, and then they will place these virtual goggles over his eyes. Once they place these virtual goggles over his eyes, the etheric being will attach the silver card to the brain. He will plug the silver card in. Once the silver card is engaged, the reality of the entity that's being tested starts to play out. And this what creates your reality, which is the matrix. So the reality that you are in now, all of this shit that's going on now that you are in, whatever you see on the outside of you, the grass, sun, the birds, mountains, waters, rivers, ponds, creeks, bushes, stones, sticks, trees, family, friends, loved ones, all this shit that you see on the outside of you, which is this reality, it's not real. It's simulated. It's nothing but a virtual game, as you can see. And actually, this is you that is sitting in the matrix chair, and you are going through this virtual game because you have been plugged up to this chair to be tested by the etheric gods. So the reality that you are in now is actually this virtual game that's simulated. And what these etheric gods are doing, they're trying to see, can you pass this virtual game? They're trying to see, can you score a good grade on this virtual game, which is this reality that you live in. So be cautious and be careful how you live this reality, because if you fail this reality, you're going to have to answer to the etheric gods. Now, Christianity says when you die, you'll have to answer to the angelic beings. Just different perspectives. So we can see now that this reality that we live in is nothing but a simulated environment that is nothing but a virtual game. I like to call life God's game. And it's a game that we all must be put through to qualify to see if we capable of becoming etheric beings. All right. Because these etheric gods, or what you call these etheric gods, they were once human like we were, but they overcame the pleasures in this life. They overcame the trials and tribulations in this life, the lusts, all this sinister stuff going on in this life. These etheric gods, they was once human like we were, but they overcame they beat the game. You see? And this is why we are here in this simulated environment, to be tested, to see, do we qualify, to see are we eligible to go into new dimensions, because it's diverse dimensions out here. Okay. But if you don't pass, you're going to retain, and you're going to have to go through this simulated environment all again. So Joshua Buster, let me go back to the canvas to explain more. So basically, we are plugged into the matrix. And the real you is sitting down in this chair. And you are having this reality. You are having this experience. Because here's the virtual goggles over your eyes. And you are plugged in this chair. They have the silver card plugged in. And you are going through this experience which is called life. Now let me tell you. Watch this. One of the etheric gods says, he has been plugged in the game long enough. Pull the plug. So once they decide that, okay, you've been in this simulated environment long enough. You've been in this chair long enough. You've been plugged up to this virtual reality long enough. The etheric God tells one of the etheric beings, he says, pull the plug. Okay. So once these etheric beings pull the silver card, I'm going to show you this in the Bible. So once he pulled the plug, he pulls the plug from the chair that was attached to the nervous system and the spinal column and all that. He pulls the plug. When he pulls the plug, this automatically cuts off this simulated environment. This automatically cuts off this game. And then you wake up and realize that you was the entity that was plugged into the simulator, which is a virtual game. So actually, when you die in this reality, you wake up. So let's say you get killed in this reality that you're in. Once you die in this reality, once this matrix ends, which is the reality that you're in, once you die in this reality, you wake up into the realm of Etheria to realize this was a fucking game that you was experiencing. To realize that this was nothing but a simulated virtual game that they had you plugged into. Once you die and your life ends, you wake up into the realm of Etheria to realize you were sitting in a seat. And they had these virtual goggles over your eyes, which created this reality that you're in. And when they pulled the plug, which is the silver card that had you tapped into this virtual game, once they pulled the plug, that was actually you dying in this reality. To realize, damn, the real place is Etheria. To realize that you was tuned in. So the entity realized he was plugged into a simulator, a virtual game. Now, after they pulled the plug, which is the silver card, you got to be judged. So they going to judge you according to this simulator you was hooked up to see if you pass this test or not in this reality. So these etheric gods is going to judge you. So as you can see here, this guy didn't do so well. This guy made an F. So while he was living in his existence, remember, when the etheric gods plugged this entity up to this matrix chair, attached him to the silver card, when the etheric gods plugged this entity up to the matrix chair and attached the silver card, it created a reality for him. So he didn't do so good in his reality. He killed. You see, he was stealing, doing all kind of wicked shit. So he didn't qualify because he didn't live a good life. So after the etheric gods decided that he was playing the game long enough, one of the etheric gods said he has been playing the game long enough. Pull the goddamn plug. Let's pull the plug. So when they pulled the plug, he woke up. That was his reality. That was his reality that ended. That was him dying in his reality. So when he woke up around a bunch of gods. He woke up around a bunch of etheric gods and realized that he was plugged into a simulator, a virtual game. And now he must face judgment. They're going to judge him to see if he passed the game. Just like when you're playing a video game. They're going to judge him to see what score he made on the game. And if you don't pass the fucking game, guess what? If you don't pass the game, the etheric God is going to tell you to get your ass back in the chair. So now you got to get back plugged into this virtual simulator. Now you got to go back to the chair. And you got to get plugged back in to the matrix until you overcome this. Once you overcome this, you won't no longer need to be tested through in the matrix chair. You can go on to experience other dimensions. But if you don't pass the God game, you will have to get back in the chair. The entity fails the virtual God game and must replay the game. He must replay the game to get a better grade. And when I mean you must replay the game, that means you must reincarnate. That means to replay the game is to reincarnate. Because if you don't qualify in this existence, if you don't score after you have died in this existence, you're going to be judged for all the shit you did here on the earth. The etheric gods is going to judge you. And if you don't qualify, if you don't make a high grade, you retain. So guess what? You reincarnate right back down here. You reincarnate right back down here in this shit. And you got to do it all over again until you pass the game. See, they try to tell you this when you play video games. Like when you playing Super Mario Brothers. If you don't pass a certain level, what happens? You got to do that shit over again until you pass it. See, even when you playing the video game, you might be playing some type of adventure game, whatever game you're playing. If you don't pass that level, what happens? You get killed. And you have to start over again until you complete that level. Just like a video game. Once you complete that level, guess what? You can go to level 2. If you don't pass level 2, guess what? You got to start over. Just like a video game. That's why when all your credits are out on a video game, it'll say game over. See? You didn't score high enough to pass the game, so you got to do this shit over again. This is just like this existence that we're in. And it's nothing but a game that you are going through. You've been plugged into a simulated environment. You are in the chair right now. Josh Bussey, you are sitting in the chair right now. You are in the matrix chair right now that's plugged in to the simulated environment. And when you die, that would be the etheric gods unplugging you from the game to judge you to see, did you score high? Did you score high in the game? You feel me? So Josh Bussey, this you right here sitting in the chair right here. Let's just say this you right here sitting in the chair. You in this matrix chair. These etheric gods is running this test on you. So they put these virtual goggles on your face, which create the reality you're in right now. So you're sitting in the chair with these virtual goggles on, and the silver card is plugged into your brain, which create this reality you in right now. And let's say you die tonight. If you died tonight, that would be these etheric gods pulling you out from pulling this plug. If you die in this reality, that would be these etheric gods pulling you out, pulling this plug. And once you die in this reality, you'll wake up in the realm of Etheria where the gods at to realize this was nothing but a simulated game that you was going through. And they're going to judge you to see if you score high on this game, which is this life. And if you didn't pass in this life, now how you can fail this life? Because I got to go over that. How you fail this life? How you make an F on this life? You fail this life by being selfish. You fail this life by not treating others with respect. You fail this life stealing from others. You fail this life for despitefully mistreating and misusing others. You fail this life by committing adultery, sleeping around with other men, wives, and so forth, swapping out husbands and wives and shit. You fail this life by not being honest and true to yourself, by telling lies. You fail this life, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not bear false witness. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. The 10 commandments. All right. And it's also more commandments than the 10. But you fail this life by not being obedient to universal law. This is how you feel this life. So you must be obedient to universal law. You can't steal. You can't kill. You can't fornicate. You can't commit adultery. You can't despitefully misuse one another. You can't disrespect others. You got to love your neighbor as yourself. These are the golden rules in order to pass this game. You got to be the best father you can be to your children. You got to be the best husband you can be to your wife. You got to take responsibility. You got to man up. You got to support your family. You got to be there. These are the things that you must do in this life in order to defeat this simulated God game, to make a better grade. Okay? We see Jay White is watching. We appreciate you, Jay White. Thank you, my brother, for tuning in. Peace and much love, wisdom, and respect to you. Jay White, my man. So this is how you overcome what you call the matrix. The Bible try to tell you this stuff, but we don't read between the lines. This is nothing but a big video game. Nothing is real. The trees, the grass, the bushes, the sky, the sun, the stars, the moon, the friends, your family, nothing is real. This is a simulated environment. Your mind is giving you this perception to make it seem like it's real, but it's just a simulated environment. You are a figment of your own imagination. This is a figment of your imagination. Nothing is real. This is nothing but a game that you are playing. You are part of the game. You see? The etheric gods sat you down because the etheric gods live in Etheria. Where does these etheric gods live? Where does these etheric gods live? These etheric gods live in Etheria. Now, Etheria is the naturalistic home where we all come from, because we all are etheric beings. But some of us have left Etheria and descended down to Earth, which is the matrix, which is the virtual simulator game. Some of us have left Etheria. Some of us have left the 99 and we have descended down to 1, which is the lowest dimension. Now we got to elevate because we got to get back up, back to our naturalistic home, which is Etheria. This is where the supernatural beings live. This is where what you call the angelic beings live. This is what you call the star bodies, or what you call the celestial beings. This is where they live at. But some of us have left the realm of, some of us have left the ether, and we have descended down to the lowest dimension, which is Earth. And we've been busting our ass trying to get back to our natural home of Etheria, what you call where the angelic beings live. So how in the hell did we descend from Etheria all the way down to this Earth, which is this matrix, which is this virtual simulator God game? How in the hell we get down here? We fell to the lower self. We didn't remain in the higher self. We fell to the lower self. And when we fell to the lower self, we fell down to the lowest dimension. You see that? So Earth is what you call a big game. And you in this video game. And you got to pass this game. Because if you don't pass this game, you're going to have to restart over. And you're going to have to keep doing it. This is what I'm telling you. Jay White, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and look at the beginning of this lesson. And then it'll make much sense to you, because I know you spawned in the midst of this message. You spawned in the middle of this message, or what you call this lesson. So go back and look at the beginning of this lesson once this lesson is over, and it'll make sense to you. Okay, guys. Now let me go show you something in the Bible. Jay White, Joshua Bussey. Let me show you something in the Bible. So now I'm going to the Ecclesiastics in the Bible. Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament that was written by King Solomon. And I'm going to show you guys. Ecclesiastes, in fact, I'm going to go to the last chapter in the book of Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament. Now watch this. As you can see, guys, yes, I do read my Bible. I don't play no games when it comes down to this spirituality. I do study my Bible, so I'm not no amateur. Okay, guys, I do study my Bible, as you can see. Okay, Jay White says, okay, we'll do. Now, this is, in the Holy Bible, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Now, watch this. In Ecclesiastes chapter 12, it tells you that eventually we are born, we become young adults, and then eventually we become old, and then we die out. So Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, is explaining like the lifespan. So Ecclesiastes 12th chapter is explaining your lifespan from a baby to a toddler, from a toddler to an adolescent, from an adolescent to a young man, from a young man to an older man, and then back to death. This is what Ecclesiastes 12 is talking about. Basically, you're born, and then eventually you leave this earth. Now, watch this. What happens before you leave? What happens on the verge of dying? Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12. All right. Now, watch this. It says, verse 1, remember now your Creator in the days of your youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, which is near, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. So remember your Creator. The Creator is Yahweh, which is the universal Creator. That's the Creator. Your Creator is who you call Yahweh, or the sovereign Lord. He's the Creator. So you're supposed to remember your Creator in the days of your youth, because eventually you're going to die out. Now let's skip down for the sake of time. It says, or ever the silver cord be loose. So before you die, the silver cord has to be loosed. Before you die, the silver cord has to be loosed. If you are on this earth and you are a human being, before you die, your silver cord has to be loose, and the golden bowl must be broken. So the question is, what the hell is the silver cord? See, the silver cord attaches the spirit to the body. The spirit cord, it attaches the spirit, which is the higher self, to the body, which is the lower self, or what you call the flesh. So the silver cord keeps the spirit intact to the body. So when you lie down at night and you go to sleep, your spirit evacuates from the body. Actually, you die every night when you lie down and go to sleep. You don't know it though. So when you lie down and go to sleep, your spirit, which is your etheric being, your spirit comes out of your body when you lie down and go to sleep. But it's not the total separation, because the silver cord keeps the spirit intact to the body. So your spirit can be floating around in the room while you're sleeping on the bed. Why? Because the silver cord makes sure that your spirit is attached to the physical. So your spirit is not totally separated from the physical and to the hands of death. So when you truly die, when you take your last breath, that's when the silver cord is loose. Once the silver cord is loose, it separates the spirit, which is the etheric being. It separates the spirit from the flesh, and then you go back to what you call the realm of Etheria. You go back to Etheria, which is the naturalistic dwelling place for all of us, because we all are etheric beings. Some of us just have descended down to the lowest dimension, which is earth. What I'm saying is, we are etheric beings that is trapped in the flesh. So all we are is just angelic. All we are is just angelic beings that's trapped in the human flesh. Once the human flesh dissolves, once the human flesh declines, the etheric being comes out of that human flesh, and returns back to the realm of Etheria. Now, Etheria is what the Bible calls the heavens of heavens, or the fifth dimension where God dwells. So that's all what's going on here. So you got to realize, Josh Bussey, Jay White, you got to realize that you is nothing but an etheric being that is incarcerated by the flesh. The flesh is the prison of your soul. Or the flesh is the prison of your etheric being. So if the flesh is the prison of this etheric being, if your flesh is the prison of your soul, that means your soul is incarcerated. That means your soul is in custody, because the flesh captures the soul and keeps the soul from releasing into the hands of death. So if that's the case, then we know that the flesh is nothing but what? The flesh is nothing but this matrix machine. The spirit is this etheric being. As you can see, it says, as you can see, guys, I want you to see this. I wish I could stand the book up so it won't fall over. Wish I could stand it up. It says this entity is being tested. So this is actually you, which is the spirit. This blue entity is actually you, which is the spirit. And this matrix chair is actually the flesh that the spirit been placed upon. So for a spirit to be inside of a body is for the spirit, which right here is you, to be in this matrix chair. So the flesh is likened to this matrix chair. Who created this matrix chair for your spirit to be tested in? The etheric gods created this matrix chair. And that's just like you creating a child by sperming into the woman's vagina. That's just like a man creating a child, because the sperm of a man is the spirit. The sperm of a man is actually the spirit. The sperm cell of a man is actually the life force. It's the spirit. It's the energy of a male. That's what truly is the personification of a man's spirit. A man's spirit is his sperm, because sperm is magical. This is why sex is an abbreviation for sacred energy exchange. And a man's sperm cell is the personification of his spirit. Now what happens to the sperm? The sperm cell goes into the egg cell of the vagina. Once the sperm fertilizes the egg of a woman, it creates this fertilization process, and then eventually the woman will end up conceiving a child. So the sperm cell of a man is actually the personification of his spirit. And the spirit that gets a body is the sperm cell that gets the egg cell, which creates fertilization, which creates a child. Y'all get that? So when a spirit receives a body, that's the sperm cell of a man that's going into the egg cell of a woman to create fertilization, to create a child. That's what it means when a spirit gets a body. When a spirit goes into a body, that's the sperm cell of a man going into the egg cell of a woman to create a child. See? You're not going to get it. You're not going to get this information nowhere, because I received this information through meditation. I received this information by eating high alkaline foods and drinking high alkaline water. So you're not going to hear this information in the church. You're not going to find this information on the computer. You're going to only hear this information from me, because I received it through meditation from the etheric gods. I know what I'm talking about. Listen to me, guys. Because what you call an angel was once a human, just like just like we are. An angel was once a human. But what separates an angel from a human is that an angel overcame the pleasures of this world. And so now an angel don't no longer have to incarnate anymore. See, when you overcome the pleasures of the world, you don't have to no longer incarnate. But if you fail and you let the world suck you up and you be led by the pleasures of the world and the temptations of the world, you have to incarnate again. You have to reincarnate. If you can pass this test, you don't have to incarnate anymore. And you can become an etheric God. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So you damn right. We took a great fall. So while you on earth, which is the lowest dimension, you got to graduate. That's what school is all about. School is all about graduating. Why you think it's a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, going all the way up to the 12th grade? And then after you graduate from 12th grade, then you go off to different universities, which is colleges. Why you think they call colleges universities? Because you don't went through several dimensions. You don't went from the first grade to the second grade to the third grade to the fourth grade to the fifth grade to the sixth grade to the seventh grade. These are different levels that you are elevating through. So once you get into the 12th grade and you qualify, you receive what they call a cap and gown. You receive what they call a cap and gown. Once you receive that cap and gown, it's official. Now you can go off to universities. Now you can go off and experience different universities or dimensions. That's why colleges, that's why you have Valdosta State University, Georgia Southern University. You see what I'm saying? You have universities like that, colleges such as universities, because after the 12th grade, you qualify to go off and venture another dimension. But if you don't qualify in school, you will retain and have to do that grade over again. So what makes you think that you don't reincarnate and you come back in this bitch again? You are reincarnated. You back on the earth again because you didn't pass this God game. You didn't pass this virtual simulator game. So the etheric gods, they put you through a game to pass. They sit you down in this goddamn chair and they put you through a game to pass. They put these virtual goggles over your face, which create this reality you in. And if you don't pass this matrix, you're going to get right back put in this chair. They unplug you from the matrix. He takes the silver card out. Actually, when your silver card is clipped, you die. That's why you see it says he dies in this reality. So when you die in this reality that you're living in, actually those are the etheric gods that's pulling the silver card. Just like the Bible said. See? Just like the Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 6. It says, or ever the silver card be loose, or the golden bowl be broken. See that? Verse 6, or ever the silver card be loose, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken, which is the body, at the fountain of the wheel be broken. The wheel represents the respiratory system, the circulation of breath, at the cistern. After all this happened, after the silver card be loose, after the golden bowl be broken, after the pitcher be broken, after the wheel be broken, which is the respiratory system, verse 7 says, then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. So the spirit shall return back to the gods. So after this shit is over with, the spirit is going back to the etheric gods. Now, why in the hell the spirit is going back to the etheric gods? Because the etheric gods, they unplug you from this matrix. So once they pull the plug out, you see right here? Once they pull the plug out, you died in this reality. And now you must return to the etheric gods. Now, why in the world it says the spirit go back to God who gave it? Because you got to return for judgment. Because the gods got to see, do you qualify to go on to next dimensions? The gods got to see, do you qualify to go off to other universities? The gods got to see, do you qualify to venture off and visit other dimensions besides Earth? And if you don't pass this life and you make a fucking F, if you don't pass this life If you don't learn to stop committing adultery, to stop killing, to stop stealing, to stop telling lies, to stop bearing false witness, to stop worshiping false gods, if you don't learn to keep the commandments, the 10 commandments, if you don't learn the principles of God in this life, you're going to fail. And when you're a judge, they're going to tell your ass to get right back in the chair. And guess what? This entity fails this virtual God game, and he must replay the game over to get a better grade. So you reincarnate if you don't overcome this life. You reincarnate right back down here on the earth, which is this matrix, which is this virtual simulator game that was created by the gods. Don't you know that the same God that's putting you through this fucking test created this earth? This test that you are being put through, the gods created it. Let me show you in the Bible. You got to overcome what the gods created. That's why I'm telling you, that's why I don't deal with religion, because religion is washed. Religion ain't going to teach you a damn thing. You got to come out of religion. It ain't about religion. It's about, you can be spiritual. You don't got to be religious. You can be spiritual. Fuck religion. Be spiritual. Religion ain't going to do nothing but control you. I'm trying to break down the real deal. See, in Genesis, watch this, guys. Jay White, Joshua Buster, watch this. This is Genesis. Like I said, guys, I read my Bible a lot. I don't play no games, man. When it comes down to God's word, you dealing with a scholar. So if you want to know anything about the Bible, feel free to text me or ask me. I'm going to tell you. And I ain't going to shit you. I'm going to tell you the truth. In the beginning, it says, in the beginning. It says, in the beginning. Not at the beginning, it says, but in the beginning, it says God. It said in the beginning, it says God created the heavens and earth. Now, this is not who you call Yahweh. This is not the sovereign Lord. This is not the ultimate Lord. These guys right here in the beginning that created the heavens and the earth, these are talking about the etheric beings. These are talking about the etheric gods. These are talking about the etheric gods. The etheric gods are the one that created the heavens and the earth. As you can see right here, the heavens and the earth are being created when they put you in the matrix chair. The guy that's sitting in the matrix chair, he about to be tested because he's about to enter this world that they created. You see how they put you in the matrix chair and they plug you up to this simulated environment? They put the virtual goggles over your eyes and then they plug a silver card in the back of your head. This is the world that they created. This is the world that the gods created. So they will place you in this world to see if you can overcome it. To see if you can rise. To see if you can rise to your higher self. To see can you defeat the lower self. To see can you overcome this shit. To see can you rise this. To see can you defeat this matrix. Everybody can't come out this matrix. Only very few. That's why the Bible say many are called, but few are chosen. Only few are chosen to come out this matrix. You ain't gonna even know you in the matrix till you know thyself. You must first know thyself in order to know that you're being played in the God game. You're not gonna even realize this a simulated environment. You're not gonna even realize life is just a dream. This shit ain't real. This is a figment of your imagination. You plugged into the chair right now. They got the goggles over you right now. They got the goggles over your spirit right now. They got the plug in the back of your brain right now. And what you seeing on the outside of you is just a figment of your imagination. That's the virtual reality that they created to see can you overcome it. So if you don't overcome this shit, when you die in this life, they're gonna unplug you from the game to see did you qualify. And if you didn't score high enough, you coming right back down here in this motherfucker again. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Excuse my French, but I got to put it like that. So in Genesis chapter 1, it says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. Now, God is plural, which in Hebrew, God in Hebrew means Elohim, which means more than one. Now, let me show you what God means in Hebrew. So let's go down here to the Strong Concordance. All right, guys. As you can see, I don't fuck around, man. I know what I'm talking about, man. This all I do. Okay, watch this. So you see this? This is called a Strong's Concordance. Now this takes you back to the Hebrew and the Greek. Like when you read in the English Bible, this takes you back to show you what the Bible was written in before it was translated to English. Because we know the Bible wasn't written in English. The Bible was written in Greek and Hebrew. The Old Testament was written in Hebrew. The New Testament was written in Greek. So we got to go back in the Strong Concordance to see the original, to see what the original word was before they translated it. So let's go and see what God was before they translated it, because the Bible was written in Hebrew. So let's go back to the Hebrew to see what God truly means. Watch this. So we go into the Strong Concordance and we looking for the G section. Now watch this, guys. So we're looking for the G section. H-I-J-K-L. I don't pass it. Q, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So now we are in the G's. So now what we got to do, we got to find God. So that's G-E. Let's keep flipping. That's G-I, Gil. Let's keep on flipping. That's G-O. So now we in the G-O's. Now we got to find God. And we going back to see what it was in Hebrew. Now you see God. Now we going back into the Strong Concordance because we're going to show you what God truly means before it was translated to English. So now we go over here and it says God. It says God. All right, now watch this. So we was reading, this was in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. It says, in the beginning, God created. So what we're going to do in the Strong Concordance, we're going to go to God and then we'll go to Genesis 1 and 1. See where it says Genesis 1 and 1? And it says, in the beginning, God created. So now we got to go to the Strong Concordance 430. So when we go to the Strong Concordance number, which is 430, we know that the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. So we got to go to the Hebrew section and we got to find that number 430 to see what God was before it was translated to English. So let's go to the Hebrew 430. So what now I'm going to do, I'm going to flip in the back of the concordance and go to, see, this is the Greek. Don't deal with the Greek because we know the New Testament was written in Greek. But the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, with Genesis being one of the Hebrew accounts. So we got to go back to the Hebrew. So now you see Hebrew. See that? It says Hebrew. So now we're going to find 430 in Hebrew. And we're going to see what God was before it was translated to God in the Hebrew. So let's keep going. It says the dictionary, the Hebrew Bible. So now let's go to God to see, because we know they translated the Hebrew to English, because if they didn't translate the Hebrew to English, you couldn't read the Bible. Those of you that can't speak Hebrew. So let's go back to Hebrew and see what God truly means. 430. All right. And this is, so we see 423. We got to find 430. See, and it says 430. And what that says? That says in Hebrew, because I read Hebrew, guys. If you don't know, I read Hebrew. We all study Hebrew. See that? We study Hebrew. Both forms. So when you go to 430 in the Hebrew, this is God. So before they translated it to God, it was Allahayim or Elohim. That is Allahayim. Allahayim. Allahayim or Elohim. This is what it was before they translated it to G-O-D. So it really said in the beginning, it never said in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. It said in the beginning that Elohim created the heavens and the earth, or in the beginning the Allahayim. Now Elohim and Allahayim is more than one. And I'm going to show you. So we know that one creator didn't do all this. So Elohim, watch this. It says plural. Now what is plural? plural is more than one. So you actually think, listen to me, this is facts. You can't tell me I'm wrong. If you tell me I'm wrong, that's because you ain't doing your fucking research. You can't tell me I'm wrong, because I do this shit on a daily basis. I've been doing this shit 7 years. So nobody can tell me I'm wrong, bro. I'm very profound in what I do. So if you believe that just one creator created all this shit, you sadly mistaken. If you believe that one ultimate creator created the trees, created the mountains, created the 7 seas, created the elements of the earth, created the cattle of the land, created the birds, created the mankind. If you believe that one creator did all this, you better think again, because I just showed you, bruh, that God, going back in the Hebrew, is Elohim, and it means more than one. Let me show you again. Hebrew 4:30. How do you say God in Hebrew? Elohim or Elohim. Elohim is the ancient Paleo Hebrew. Elohim is the modern day Hebrew. What does it mean? What God means, which is Elohim. Does it mean singular? Does it mean one divine creator? It says plural, more than one. So really, it should have been read this way. In the beginning, the gods created the heaven and earth. That's how it really should be read. In the beginning, the gods created the heavens and the earth. But guess what? Guess what? We got some people that's running this world that don't want you to know the sacred knowledge. So they revised the Bible. They went into the Bible and they revised the Bible so you wouldn't know this. So they have you thinking that one creator did all this shit. You can thank the Illuminati for that. You can thank the international banking families for that. Because they went into the records and they revised the records to deceive the masses of the people. So the people wouldn't know that there was multiple gods that created the elements of the earth. There was a God that created the waters. There was a God that created the mountains. There was a God that created the land masses. There was a God that created the animals. There was a God that created mankind. There was a God that created the luminaries. There was a God that created the sun. There was a God that created the stars. There was a God that created the moon. All these elements that evolve around us. You had various gods that played their creation in. But they got you believing that it's one creator that did all this shit. This is what I'm telling you. You're not going to come across too many guys like me. I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to free your soul out of this fucking matrix. Because everything you've been taught in America is a goddamn lie. I'm trying to free your soul. They have poisoned you with religion. They have washed you up with religion. They got you thinking all this bullshit. So in the beginning, it should have said, not in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. It should have said in the beginning, the Elohim, which is the Elohim, or in the beginning, the gods created the heavens and the earth. This is why God said, now you'll understand now. Now you'll understand. Let me go back to 4:30. Watch this. Now you'll understand now. 4:30, which is God, which is Elohim, plural, more than one. What it says. Elohim, plural, which is more than one. What it says. It says gods. It said gods in ordinary sense. Gods. Gods. So God in Hebrew, G-O-D, if you go back into the Hebrew, it would be Elohim. It would be Elohim or Elohim, which is plural, more than one, which is gods. So really in the beginning, the gods created the heaven and the earth, not God. But this is the type of games they play on us over in this wicked ass country, because they don't want you to know the sacred knowledge. Now watch this. So now we can see right here in Genesis 1:26, it says, and God said, let us make man in our own image. See, now we can correct that. It should have been read, and the gods said, more than one. So, and the God said, let us make man in our own image. Because it don't make no damn sense when you read it, how they revised it today. Because it says, and God said, let us make man. And you'll be like, damn, who else was with God? See? You'll ask that question, you'll be like, damn, who else was with God? If God said, let us make man, because you don't have no over entering understanding that when you see God in the Bible, it's supposed to be plural. It's Elohim, Elohim, which means plural, which I showed you in the concordance. It said gods. So it was various gods. It was various gods that played their part in creating this world. And it didn't take 6 days. It took 6,000 years. You see that? So when it says God said, let us, you wondering like, who the fuck was with God? But when you, but now, since I open your understanding up, you can see, oh, I can see it really should have been, and the God said, let us make men in our own image. See that? And they made man in their own image when they went against the will of the Creator. Once they made man in their own image, you know what they did? They put him through this simulated environment to see can he qualify, to see can he evolve, to see can he pass. So when they said, let us make man in our own image, this is the etheric gods, right? That they made man in their own image when they violated the policies of the sovereign Lord Yahweh. And what happened is these entities had to be tested in the matrix chair, which is attached to the civil card, to see can they qualify, to see can they pass this reality that you living in, to see can they pass this shit. If you don't pass it, you coming right back. Now, I just gave you the real breakdown. I just gave y'all, I ain't talking about what Christianity don't taught you. I ain't talking about what Islam don't taught you and all these other goddamn wicked ass religions. I ain't talking about what these stupid ass religions out here don't taught you. Because we already know who over religion, we already know who controls the religion, the Vatican. The Roman Catholic Church controls the religion. London controls the finance, and Washington, D.C. controls military operation. These are known as the three rings of power, which the Illuminati controls. So they got you by the balls, got you thinking about all this dumb shit out here. Telling you lies in the schools, telling you lies in the textbooks, telling you all this bullshit. But I just showed you the truth. And I showed you how to evolve, and I showed you how to get the fuck out of here. The only way you're going to get out this matrix, listen to me good, you must evolve. You must evolve. You got to die to the lower self. You got to be born again. Everything you learn, you got to throw out the window. You got to be born again. You got to die to the lower self. And you got to come into the higher self. This is what Jesus' crucifixion was all about. Jesus' crucifixion was all about him dying to the lower self and rising in the higher self. Why you think when they crucified Jesus, his name wasn't Jesus. I don't like to use Jesus because that wasn't his fucking name, because there's no J's in the Hebrew. There's no J in the Hebrew alphabet letter. There's no J letter or sound in the Hebrew. There's no J letter or sound in the Greek. There's no J letter or sound in the Latin. We talking about a man that walked the earth 2,000 years ago. They was not calling him Jesus because J is the newest letter in the alphabet. That's why J is known as Johnny Come Lately, because it's the newest goddamn letter in the alphabet. You don't believe me? Go on the line. Go on the internet and check it. J is the newest letter in the alphabet. That's why the Hispanics don't even say J. The Hispanics don't even pronounce the word J. When you say, they don't say Japalino peppers. The J is solid. They say jalapeno. They don't say Jose, they say Jose. They don't even say Jesus, they say Jesus. The J has always been solid because it was never part of the alphabet. So they weren't calling him Jesus 2,000 years ago. But that's another lesson within itself. That's the bullshit you've been sold. That's the lies the goddamn government have told you. Because we keep following religion. You see? But anyways, J is the newest letter in the alphabet, y'all. And we know that the Messiah, he was a Hebrew from the tribe of Judah. And he didn't speak Greek or he didn't speak Latin or Spanish. He spoke Hebrew. The only way you're going to get out this matrix, you got to evolve. You got to elevate your mind and you got to die to the lower self. So when they crucified the Messiah, I'm going to say the Messiah. When they crucified the Messiah, notice what they did. They crucified him on a landmass that is called Golgotha. This is where the Messiah died at. The Messiah died on a place called Golgotha. Golgothah. I think it's Golgothh. Golgotha. That's where they killed. That's where they killed the Messiah, who you call Jesus. They killed him in a landmass called Golgotha. Now Golgotha means place of the skull. What is the place of the skull? The mind. So when they crucified Christ, notice what they did. When they crucified him, they lift him up real high. Because he already had died to his lower self in order to be elevated to his higher self. So the crucifixion of Christ just explains you dying to the lower self and elevating to the higher self. In order for you to elevate to the higher self, you got to cut all this bullshit off you've been taught in America, and you got to be born again through spirit. You got to be born again like Christ told Nicodemus. In St. John chapter 3, he tells Nicodemus, you must be born again. This is not a physical birth. This is a spiritual birth. You got to die to the old man. You got to rise in the new man. You got to spiritually be born again. And this is how you get the fuck out of this matrix. This is how you get out of this matrix machine. So you can go on to venture off and visit other dimensions and universes out here. If you don't, if you want to be a slave to religion, you want to keep following the government, guess what? You're going to fuck up. You're going to make a bad grade. And you're going to have to play this shit all over again. You're going to come back. You're going to reincarnate all over again. You got to go through this shit all over again until you pass. Last verse. This is why the Bible says this. Last verse. This is why the Bible says this. That's why it says, you know, this is the last verse, guys. The book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, and let's look at Revelation 2:25. Look at Revelation. I'm trying to get the right one. Look at Revelation 2:11. Let's see. Revelation 2:11. Revelation 20:17. Let's try this one. I'm trying to get the right one. Revelation 20:17. Is it Revelation 20:17? Let's see. 20:12. I'm trying to find it where it say he that overcometh. He that overcometh. Could be Revelation 3:5. Let's check that one. He that overcometh shall be clothed with white raiment. Okay. We'll just look at some of these. This is Revelation 3:5. He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment. White raiment is that cap and gown that you receive after you graduate. You see that? That's why after you pass the 12th grade, you graduate, you have a cap and a gown, because that's to be clothed with that white raiment. And then after your graduation, you eventually go off to universities. See that? And I would not blot out his name out of the book of life. The book of life is what you call the Bible. That's why the Bible is an acronym, basic instructions before leaving earth. But I will confess his name before my Father and before the angels. Now, what are the angels? The angels are the etheric beings. However you want to call them. The angels is the etheric beings that lives in the realm of Etheria, which is the highest plane. You see that? Revelation 3:21. It says, To him that overcome. See, you got to overcome this life. You got to pass this test. This life ain't nothing but a big simulated game that the gods is playing on us. And you got to overcome. Him that overcome will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame. See, because the Messiah who you call Jesus Christ, he tell you, I overcame this shit, man. When the Messiah of 2,000 years ago was on this earth, he had to overcome this shit just like we do. Or we got to overcome it just like he did. So this is why the Messiah has never returned. This is why the Messiah ain't have to come back, because he overcame. He didn't have to reincarnate because he overcame this shit. See, I also overcame and sat down with my Father in his throne. You see that? Revelation 2:11. He that hath the ear, let him hear. Now, when it says the ear, ain't talking about the ears on the side of your face right here. When it say he that has the ear represents the ear represents understanding. So he that has a sense of understanding, let him understand what the Spirit says unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. Now, what is the second death? The first death was the flood. The second death would be what you call thermonuclear destruction, because we know the Bible already prophesied about America being nuked. But also the second destruction, the second death is when you don't qualify after you die and you have to reincarnate and do it again. All right. And also, I was trying to find that one that said he that overcome it, he shall never go out again. You don't have to keep reincarnating. I wanted to find that one, Revelation 2:25. I thought it was that one, but I don't see it, guys. I thank you for your patience. I thank you for your patience, man, because you guys, Jay White, Joshua Buss, I thank you for your patience. Matt East, I thank you for your patience. I wanted to find it, but for the sake of time, I don't think I can find it right now. Let me try Revelation 20:7, because I don't want to hold you guys. It's getting late. Revelation 20:7. Let me try this. No, that ain't it. But it says he shall never go out again. It says something about he that overcome, he shall never go out again. I hate when I can't find the scriptures, man, because this make me look unsophisticated. I hate when I can't find them. Here it is. Revelation 3:12. Revelation 3 verse 12. This is the last one. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in my temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from God, and I will write upon him my new name. See that? So he that overcome, he shall go out no more. He shall go no more out. Go no more out where? You don't have to reincarnate. When you overcome, you don't have to reincarnate, because you can go on to other dimensions, like in school, going on to other grades and not retaining, and then eventually get into that 12th grade and graduate so you can go to universities. If you think Earth is the only dimension, you sadly mistaken. So thank you, Matt East, Jay White. Thank you, Josh Busson, man. I hope y'all guys was edified. Please share this video with family and friends. There's a lot of brothers and sisters don't know this knowledge out here. But please share this video. Thank you for your time. You guys was very patient on tonight. And till next time, I will be seeing you guys. I will be dropping more videos. Also, stay in touch with me on YouTube and follow me on Twitter. And that is Shabar Israel. SHABARISRAEL. Shabar Israel. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And stay in tune with me on Facebook. Joshua Bussey, Jay White, Matt East. It's been a pleasure. Till next time, Shalom.